So today we're here with
Lawrence Carie,
Lawrence. Who are your parents?
uh, August and Mary Louise Carie.
As far as your family, talk about your family a little bit.
Well, we had a dozen in the family. We had 11 boys, and the last one was a girl. And Dad says, that's enough. We don't need any more. We got a girl. But Mary Lou is still living. She's 77. She's my sister. And Harold is 92. He's in a nursing home. He's still living. But the two that I had the most influence on me was June, who was 4 years older than I had, played professional baseball, and played high school basketball. Taught me the shooting and fundamentals and everything of it. Then Harold played baseball, and he was a Ty Cobb with a split-handed baseball there. But everything went good, and one of my brothers, older brothers, Bud, broke his arm throwing a roundhouse curveball in summer baseball on Sundays. Now you got to remember, when we were back in those days, we played baseball every Sunday. We had a game. And in basketball, we had a basketball game every Sunday during the winter. Now, if you played, I was about 12 years old. If I played, I paid a quarter, and if I didn't play, I didn't have to do anything. And they had 14-foot ceilings and about 8-foot rims, and we played there every Sunday. This is where my athletic sports started out.
Talk about your wife.
Oh, I can't say enough words about her. She's such a wonderful lady. When I started coaching, we had 3 young ones within 36 months. And she says, you know what, as long as you coach, I'll take care of the kids. And she took care of the kids, and I didn't have to worry about them. One time we left one of the kids at the gym, because we left and went home. But she's been so wonderful to me and so Sal, and I've always tell her that she's going to have to take care of their love life as they get older, and I will take care of their athletic world, and mine is going to be less easier than yours.
Barb is a great lady, isn't she?
Oh, she is great. She is, and she's from the old-fashioned school that they do the male work, the female work in the house. And I still like that because, hey, I don't do much work in the house, and she got set certain ways of doing things, and she does it. Now, you don't want to change them because on that, but it's been nice.
Did sports play a big role in your family?
Oh yes, I can't say enough. My oldest brother didn't play because in 1921 he had polio, and did hurt his brain. But he had he was 5 feet tall, had size 3 shoe, and he went to business college in Evansville, Indiana, and he was the TVA man in the Tennessee Valley Authority. And Rafe didn't play much. He was the only one that went to service. But Bud Francis, he was a pitcher, and he played baseball every Sunday in summer. And also came along Arville came along, but he had tonsillitis when he was a 8th grader, and he died. Then came along June. June was the one that played professional baseball and played high school basketball, and I was 3 years behind him, so I learned a lot from him. He went to Decker, Indiana, play basketball, and the Catholic school in Vincennes opened up, which was called G-Bolt, and I went to G-Bolt, so he's playing out there on the gym floor for Decker, and I'm up in the stands rooting for but I'm rooting for we had a lot of fun at Louis that way, but that was about it with my kids. My sister didn't play ball or anything, yeah.
Where did you attend high school, and what year did you graduate?
I attended high school in 1954 at Central Catholic High School, and that they've changed names now, and it was an all-boys school. And I kind of liked it. 28 in class, and I think I was third. Believe it or not, I was third academically in the graduating class, and I was elected captain of the team in a senior year. and I graduated in 1954.
So what sports did you play in high school?
Well, I lived about 6 miles south of Vincennes. I felt Dad needed help on the farm, so I played basketball for sure, and I liked it. I was a good shooter, and I worked a lot on my shooting, my rink on my wrist and everything. And the thing that really got me going was my brother Leo there was a junior varsity coach, and he had a free throw contest with all the kids, all the basketball players. And that particular freshman year, I was lucky. I won first place out of all of them, and that made me stand out a little bit to help my basketball career at Vincennes, Vincennes Gibot. But anyway, that's it. In '54, I graduated. Then I went to Vincennes University and then St. Joseph College.
So obviously, your freshman and senior year was a very good career. Talk a little about that some more.
About what?
Talk a little about your sports career some more in your high school from freshman to senior year.
Well, I'll finish from one in high school. And track, I ran track in my senior year in high school, and I did it on a dare. Somebody asked me, says, he couldn't run a 5-minute mile. I said, well, if I couldn't run a 5-minute mile, I wouldn't even go out for track. He said, well, then do it. So I took it up, and then I did run the 4:36, on that. But it was bad. And in college, I went to Vincennes University, and the freshman year, and it's the same about it. I wasn't really wanting to go to college back in 54 now, and at the semester, really got me going. At the semester, we had 10 members on the team. Semester, 3 of them graduated, and 2 of them dropped out. So the coach looks back there at me and he says, "We only got 5 left." So he started playing me, and I did pretty good. Then the sophomore year, I really mushroomed out and played good, and the team won 15 straight and was 28-3, and overall record. And I played first 5, and we have got an All-American on the team, which is my cousin. I always tell him, see that name up there? I changed my name when I was there on the wall there. No, but we had Bob Showalter, and this group of basketball players really got along together, because yet today there's only 3 left living. One is Jim Sharp in Evansville, Indiana, which I see him every year. We go out for dinner. The other was Bob Showalter in Wisconsin Dells, and he died just a year ago. And we had a lot of good relationships. And their wives, they really enjoyed us getting together on that. And
so talk more about some of the teams and players that you got to play against in high school.
In high school, well, you got to remember that, and there were small schools, and in Knox County, there was 13 high schools. And after I left, they was narrowed down to 4 high schools. One was North Knox, had 6 schools. Another one was South Knox, had 6 schools. And we had Central Catholic, which I went to, and Vincennes Lincoln. And we played, I could just name them, Bruceville, Freelandville, Oaktown, Sanborn, Decker Chapel, Decker. My brothers went to Decker, my older brothers went to Decker High School. And it was enjoyable. We didn't have a conference. We played independent on that, and it was very enjoyable, and I was very successful. And the thing about it was this: my class that was there was a little ornery, and they called themselves the Dirty Dozen. So I couldn't be a member of that Dirty Dozen because I lived in the country, and Dad wanted me to go home and work. So so I did it. I got to be captain and everything. And the most interesting thing that happened in that is I played forward, and another smaller kid played forward and on that ball team. And the team got together and asked me as the captain of that team, because I was supposed to be Mr. Clean Gene, I don't know if I was, but Mr. Nice Guy, to go to the coach and asked him to move the 2 guards we had, me and I and Tom Dean, to forward, and put the 2 6'2" centers, put them to guard, put those 6'2" centers at forward. And okay, I says, why me? He said, well, you're captain all the time and all that. So I says, okay. I said, you do it for the betterment of the team. Don't think of the individual. I went to Father Dahl, and he accepted it, and we did very good after that.
So talk about some of your favorite facilities that you played in high school.
Well, there isn't too many favorite facilities back then because they were small gyms. You're talking about 500. You're talking about gyms like Brownstown now, and all those gyms are better. Have you ever seen Windsor Gym?
Mm-hmm.
The old gym? Now that's the gyms we talked about. They had a track up on top of the gym, and can't shoot in the corner because they'd hit the ceiling, and they were a lot of fun gyms, but we liked them.
After high school, where did you attend college?
I turned it right at home at Vincennes University, and they've got a very good college. The head basketball coach was named Alan Bradfield. He was probably 5'6", 125 pounds, but boy was he sharp, and he could do his basketball. Dr. Breckus, the president of the college, got him to become our coach, and he did well of a job. And he got some good players. Robert Green had airplanes there that he could use to go out and get people there. And right today, Vincennes University got the best facilities. I mean, in the state of Indiana, I think. I mean, even four-year colleges, but there's only 2 junior colleges in the state of Indiana. That's Vincennes University, and one just started up about 3 years ago in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So we were very blessed with that. Had all the money we could use.
So since you played basketball there, who recruited you?
Well, the local coach, basketball coach, he says he wanted to go over there. It was about middle of August, and I think he needed darn desperate for a few players, so he asked me to come. And Dad says, if you want to go, go. So I went there, and the head basketball coach recruited me. Yeah.
What kind of success did you have at college?
In college? Well, athletic-wise, at the junior college, we had a great success the sophomore year. We got beat in the regional by Flint, Michigan, 81-76, and took us out of the regional finals going to Kansas City. Dale O'Connell from St. Joseph College recruited at St. Joseph College in Rensselaer, Indiana. The college has shut down now because lack of funds. They were $100 million in debt, and so they just closed down, and they're going with Marion College in Indianapolis to try to get a junior college going. That's where the Chicago Bears had their practice when they played pro ball. And I remember Rick Caceres and Doug Atkins and all those guys eat, and man, they could eat about 5 pounds of steak, every meal. Yeah.
What were some of your favorite places to play in college?
Well, you're thinking they put me way back here. I didn't have any particular place. We went to Lincoln College. We went to Rio Grande. Well, Rio Grande is, remember Beeble Francis? Oh, we played against him, beat him, and it was quite interesting. I can't think of any particular college that I prefer, right offhand now, because it's just, when you play sports, you just enjoy playing sports, and you don't worry about the facility.
So we'll switch to the coaching part now. Talk about your grade school days of coaching.
Well, grade school days, we went to a small school about like Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
We had 12 in our class, 8th grade class, and we had parochial teams, not county schedule or anything like that. But we had 5 Catholic high schools, Catholic grade schools, and we played each other, and we had played other games besides that. And in my 7th grade year, we had a volunteer coach, adult. But in the 8th grade year, we didn't have a volunteer. So the players picked a captain to take care of the team and schedule the games. And I was the one they picked for me as an 8th grader to schedule the game and everything like that. And by the way, we were 13-1 that year. And
It's amazing how you remember all these records. Talk about
I don't know why, but I just do remember.
talk about you became the Teutopolis High School basketball coach.
Oh,
Who was your first superintendent?
Sister Stephanie, Notre Dame nun, and she was a great nun, and she was there. And sometimes they hired me. You know, we were going to Texas, my wife and I, but we didn't have any jobs around here. But the athletic director at St. Joseph College and the athletic director at Vincennes Rivet, or it's Rivet now, but it was Central Catholic then, told us that this job was open in August.
Mm-hmm.
So I applied for it, got over there, and they hired me. The interesting thing about them, I says, what is my job description? Well, she says, you're going to coach basketball, you're going to coach baseball, you're going to coach track, you're unofficially going to be athletic director. You're going to schedule all the games. I'll never be to a basketball game or baseball or anything. I will. You'll take care of it, and so when you get done there, you take care of the gate receipts home. My wife had 3 kids. I had gate receipts in one hand, had the concessions in the other hand, and we went home with them. Put in a deep freeze and had cold cash Monday morning. So brought it into the secretary at the high school on Monday morning. And it was, went along fine. And I says, and sister, is there anything else that you want me to do? She says, yes, there is. I says, and what is that? She says, I want you to be cheerleader sponsor. And I was cheerleader sponsor, didn't do much. But anyway, I remember counting the ballots on the first cheerleader election. And but it was you had to do that, so you took care of that, and we had a great time at the high school level.
What years were you the Teutopolis High School basketball coach from start to finishing up your career?
Fall of 1958, and in 1981.
That's a long time.
Yes, it is. 23 years.
Who influenced you to coach?
My brothers. And I started in grade school level, and I always liked it. He always organized, and my brother Harold always organized, got games for us and everything, and playing. I was pretty good, and we were just, that was our recreation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go Sunday baseball, we knew that, and Dad, you never worked on Sundays. I mean, that was taboo. So we played ball, and we got to do that.
Did you attend any coaching clinics and name some of your learning tools?
Coaching clinics. Back in those days, they didn't have any, and when they started up in the 70s, Sister Stephanie was gone. Don Brumlow over there. I attended very few coaching clinics on that. The one I did attend to is from Aurora, Illinois, was with Buddy Graham, who used to coach Madison, and Ed McCauley was there, and had Bill Vukovich on head there, and Bill Rux. And the interesting thing was, Bill Rux coached 6th grade kids, grade school kids. And this one kid come up to Bill Rux and crying. No, Bill, as big as he was 6'9", about 290 pounds. And he said, I can't do anything with him. He said, I want to get rid of him. And it was something that was really, when he ordered things, he ordered 2 bottles of beer. He ordered 2 pounds of bacon to eat. Oh, it was really something.
With sports being an extension to the classroom, what did you instill in your players?
Well, the first thing I would instill in any player was academics. If you can't pass your grades, you ain't gonna play ball. That was the one thing about it. After you got that done, make sure you have good attitude. Listen to the coach, be willing to take criticism. If you ain't willing to take criticism, you just will not be out there. And the last thing is, if you meet these 2 criteria, academics and attitude, you'll get better and you'll get ability.
What were your goals to accomplish in practice?
Well, the thing about it is this, with each practice, is to try to do things a little better each day. But small, but make sure to work hard and try to work on it. If you miss something, or the offensive player got by you, why did he get by you? What did you do cause that? And I says, and then fundamentals of shooting, why did you miss a layup? Ask your questions. Don't ask the coach, ask yourself, because you're the one that's doing it. So this will help you out quite a bit.
Since we kind of talked about your coaching philosophies and how you handle things, list some of your favorite gyms and toughest gyms you got to coach in.
Well, one of the toughest gyms was Brownstown. That was a small gym, and they just had good players. Back in the 60s and 70s, and a lot of trouble at Stu Strong because they had a lot of good players. The Rothrocks came along, and they had 4 of them, and they were very tough. And Calvin Herrick, if you ever saw Calvin Herrick's first gym, wow. I mean, it was even worse than Windsor's. And excuse me, I shouldn't say that. Somebody from Windsor might hear me. But anyway, they were pretty bad. But those are some of the gyms there. Alamont's been a good gym to us to play in because it's one of the better ones, yeah.
Can you name some of your assistant coaches?
Yes, I can. I can name you all of them.
Go ahead.
The first one is still living. Let me see where that is. What question is it, or do you have it? The first one is Bob Trueblood. He's still living. We were hired at the same time at Teutopolis High School. He was an industrial person, and had coached with me for 2 years. And Jim Bauer, who's still living, he's up at Quincy. I think he's in the nursing home. Then I got Ron Counselor for several years. On that, 13 years, I think, and then Les Stevens and Larry Johnson. I really enjoyed all of them. I enjoyed all of them that I had. They helped out.
Talk about your teams and players.
Teams and players. There's been a lot of them. When I first started coaching, and thank goodness they were, Teutopolis was a great town to coach in because they did like you wanted to. I came out there into the gym, 22-year-old kid coaching basketball, and here these kids were 18 years old, and you can imagine the kids in Teutopolis, or the players in Teutopolis, how big they were. And if they would have said anything against me, I believe I'd have run the other direction. But we had a lot of fun. First year, I had 2 seniors. One of them dropped out. Larry Hardick finished up with me. Second year, I had Don Funneman. He was a great basketball player. Played Division I. Murray State, he wound up finished there. Franny Gardewine, Dave Werman, John Rundy, Joe Gear, Tom Brumleby. These first 3 years, I mean, I was blessed with great players. I mean, not good players, but great players. Then after that, we didn't have the height, didn't have the ball ability. They just went. But the thing about it with basketball in those days, we played basketball in wintertime. In the summertime, I had a baseball team, the high school baseball team, and we played baseball in the summertime. So we had, they had their season, to do it. And, there goes a lull in there about 3 or 4 years that we did win, Billy. And then we picked back up, started going, going back up. We had some good kids, and got 500 at, like Tom Martin, Charlie Brumleby, that played for me. Then came along that little bitty short guy, Gobzinski. Mm-hmm. He came along. He was tough. Had Joe Clark with him, 6'6". Had Fred Niebrugge, 6'4". Fred Niebrugge had a scholarship with Robert Parrish, and I forget where Robert Parrish went to school. Where did he go to school?
I don't really know that one.
Yeah, well, anyway, he went down there 1 year, but he had to come back and go stay at Teutopolis and marry his lovely high school sweetheart. And but that was there. Pat Dom was a good one. The Shoemaker boys, the Shoemaker boys were great. The family of Norbert Shoemaker. Gene played Division I ball
at Alabama.
Alabama. Phil played at Jasper Junior College, I believe. Joe played at Lakeland, and Dave played at Lakeland, and it was a great family to have. Yeah, do what you want.
Is there any unique or odd events during your coaching career?
No, I'd say one unique event was this, that I was coaching, started coaching, and the second year I was coaching, I always said a prayer before we walked down the floor. Yeah, we always said a Hail Mary, and we were playing, believe it or not, playing at home. We played at home. I didn't expect to get a technical foul on me, but a referee by the name of Bud Friels, a lot of coaches will remember it, called a technical foul on me for taking too long in the huddle. Well, that was the last time he ever coached at Teutopolis. But that was one of the things that happened. And then another time I had three officials. Only time I ever had three officials. I asked old Bill Waldron from Cumberland. I said, Bill, which two of these three you want? Bill says, I don't want any. I says, thank you. I'll pick my two. So I picked my two who'd be a little homer with me, like that. We started the game and was getting beat 10 points. And that one that we hired said, hey, how am I doing, coach? I said, you aren't doing worth a darn. We're getting beat 10 points. And a few of the next calls got along with me.
A number of your former players played in college. Can you name all of them?
In college, I think I can. Joe Clark went to Millikan. Bart Funman went to Millikan. Ted Smith, SIE Edwardsville, was a Hall of Fame. He got to the Hall of Fame there. Gene Shoemaker, Alabama, great. Don Westenauer went to Vincennes University, and John Rundy was Quincy. He's a good ball player. I really liked him. Mark Craig, Millikan, and my son Dan, he went to Illinois College, and at the end of his career, he was the captain of the basketball team and played first five.
So as far as St. Anthony head basketball coach is Cody Rinker. Cody Rinker is your grandson. Do you feel you have influenced him in any way?
Oh, I think I have from this standpoint, that I coached him when he was in the 5th and 6th grade. I coached him out here in the summer rec playing, and I did this. And I think this, and then I go through his ball games. I don't necessarily sit down and talk X's and O's or anything, like that. Anyway, and I think that does, he knows, or if he'd get in trouble or something, he'd know. But we talk a little bit about it, and we do pretty good.
Is there any other coaching stories you would like to add, Lawrence?
Other coaching stories. This isn't a coaching story. This is a sad story. Mm-hmm. Back in 1978, February of 1978, about February the 13th or 14th, we were at Granite City playing ball, and the principal was in Principal's Convention in California. Dr. McDonald went to Granite City to be with us, so he was with us and saw the game and everything like that. We stopped somewhere on Granite City to eat, so we ate and everything like that. We came home on the bus, and when we were coming on the bus, we came at the top of Effingham Hill. Somebody come out of the tavern down there. I forget what the name of the tavern was. Came out of there, came over in his lane of traffic and hit him head on. We were the first vehicle that was behind him, and he followed us all the way from Altamont. We passed us at Altamont, and then I got out of the bus. He was in the driver's side, and I felt his forehead. It was cold and clammy, and I felt that he was deceased then or dead then, and I had to get the kids home on the bus. So I told Les Stevens and Dennis Custer to stay there and do what you can, and take the kids, take the basketball players home a different way. We went around the way. An interesting thing about this, when we got home, we says, who's going to tell this family what happened? So we had to, Larry Ceruza and I had to call their kids up and get the only kid at home, the senior, Ruth McDonald, and try and call them up and got them to tell them about their dad and mom. Their dad was deceased. Their mom had a serious eye injury that she had to go to St. Louis, and they had to make a decision on that. That was the other, probably usual thing, on this.
Are you in touch with any of your former teammates and players?
Well, I say a little bit, not much. Like Doug Smith, Todd Fallon, I see him, I'll talk to him and everything like that. And it's a lot of interesting stories you can go over, but I'm not a very good storyteller, I don't think. But anyway.
At what age did you become interested in sports?
I think when it came out of my mother's womb. You've heard of that before.
Yeah.
I think because of the big family we were, and the brothers there, and Dad didn't have much money, we just played ball together at home and shot baskets and everything. I remember the story of, I thought I was getting pretty good as a sophomore in high school. My brother Rafe was there, and he's up in age, like that. I wanted to play him because I wanted to beat him. Because he was kind of the one that thought he was pretty good, like that. So I went out to play him, and I started driving around him. He grabs my arm. So I do that again. He grabs. I said, "Well," he says, "I didn't say what I would do or anything like that, but I'm playing you." So that was the story with one of my brothers. But it was a lot of fun, a lot of interest.
Since you played, how has the game changed?
Well, it's a lot more physical. It's lots tougher. That is it. But I like to say this, that back in 1961, I think, we were playing St. Anthony. We have a sudden death overtime. I don't remember ever heard of it. Sudden death overtime? Well, the first 2 points in overtime won the game. We're at St. Anthony here. I don't imagine St. Anthony even knows this, some of them, that the game was tied, and our one player fouls Jim Dateman. I don't know if his name was Jim or not, but it was the Dateman kid. So he steps up to the line, shooting 2 free throws, and he makes both free throws, and we lose the ball game. So that was one incident, that happened, and that was very unusual.
Wow. What advice would you give to today's younger kids about playing sports?
Well, if you're going to make a decision to play sports, work at it. Check stories and books of watch ball games. Watch not high school games. See what they do. See which is it. See which foot to put first. Which way they drive, which way they go, and do this and just keep picking up little things every year. If you get your shot blocked, why did you get it blocked? If you got put in, if you're going to be physical a little bit, don't let the referee see you. Do it underneath the basket when nobody can see you.
Who are some of your biggest role models?
Well, I would always go back to one of my brothers. June, he was August, but he was June. We call him June, and Harold. They were 2 biggest ones, and Larry Bird was another one. Came along, and I like to watch him. We went to see him, and I'm a Boston Celtics fan, and that brings about a lot. Cousy and Parrish and all them guys, and Pete Maravich too. He was such a great player on this, and it was just a great thing. But an interesting thing, the role models. I don't. That's about all I remember. I could say more, but I couldn't think of any.
Did you meet any of like Larry Bird, Pete Maravich? Did you ever get to meet those guys?
Yeah, I did. Larry Bird, I did. We had him here at a game. Yeah, just a very common fella, just a hard worker, tries to do the fundamentals right. Don't complain, and this is something that you have to work on doing. Yeah.
What has sports done to change your life, Lawrence?
Well, it's making me go out and watch ball games. my five kids, they played sports. My 19 grandkids, all of them are playing basketball, usually seasonal sports, basketball, football, baseball, and that. got the first one playing, the youngest of the grandkids. He's playing football now. But it's just things that you do and keep working at it and all that.
I wanted to end with this one. What did you enjoy so much about being the head coach with the Teutopolis Wooden Shoes?
You know, the people that was there that worked with me, the kids listened to me. I didn't have many problems. No, I had some problem, little problem. But the adults, people with me, I disciplined 2 of the main people in town. They didn't say a word with me. I noticed I called up one time and says, "Hey, I want to talk to your kid. He was on the basketball team. Want to name there?" "Oh, he's upstairs sleeping." I said, "It's about 5 after 10. I said, "Well, I'd like to talk to him." I'm young then, 25, 26, and I said, "Well, I'd like to talk to him." I said, "He's upstairs sleeping." Well, I should have just left it go at that, but I said, "I want to talk to him." So he goes up and checks with that. He comes back down and he says, "Hey, Coach, I got to tell you, he slipped out the upstairs window." But he didn't say anything. I disciplined him, and he didn't say anything to me or anything. He left me alone. And that's what I liked about Teutopolis. They let you coach, do your thing.
So in closing, Lawrence, is there anything else you want to share as far as a story or anything else that you want to talk about?
Yes, I like to talk about my 5 kids here a little bit because in my coaching career, my own self now, 441 victories and 171 defeats. I coached baseball 16 years, like that, track 10 years. But all these things just helped me out. And the interesting thing about Teutopolis and basketball, this is an oddity. The kids, when they played away from home, they always had a sandwich waiting for them when they got back home. And the cheerleaders made those sandwiches up by the 23 years of my career. And they did it, they liked it, and they got a sandwich too. And some of the coaches asked specific things to be put on, mayonnaise or whatever it may be. Then at the end, then at Christmas time, I bought all the cheerleaders a little bitty something, and they bought me something for Christmas. Little relief things, and little mental things, on that.
Lawrence, I really enjoyed hearing your stories. Obviously, you're a legend coach at T-Town Basketball, and you've had several players play under you that remember talking about you, stories left and right. So I appreciate you telling me that, and I didn't know all about this high school and college career you had. So thank you for telling me all your stories. And if there's anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I want to add that for me, like my coaching, I don't know if I influenced my own kids any, but all 5 of my kids have coached. Dan even coached this year. He retired, coached 6th grade basketball girls. Jacksonville, Donna, she's coached volleyball. She's at Stu Stroud, coached volleyball a lot, and better than that. And Diane, she's at Philo. She's coached track and volleyball. And then Dennis, he coached all of his 6th grade, his grade school kids at Sacred Heart. Then Doris, she coached too, and coached at St. Anthony, her kids, all that. But this is the thing, my own kids that I had, we had a little stipend in here about doing things. He says when we lived over at Teutopolis, we could see out the window and see the basketball court. So if it was their time to do dishes, we said, "You don't have to do dishes if you go out and shoot baskets." They went out and shot baskets, and maybe that's the reason they got such good shooting. They didn't want to do the dishes.
Well, I tell you what, your granddaughter Josie, who's my age, she had a heck of a career. You were wanting to say something?
Well, yeah. One other thing I forgot to put in there. There's three of those 19 grandkids of mine have made the FEM Hall of Fame.
Oh yes.
Michael, Jonathan, and Josie. And that's been a Hall of Fame, and that's been real good for them.
What does that mean to you?
Well, that means that they worked pretty hard in basketball and they put out all they had in order to get there. You know, point wise, Josie in basketball and Sean ran the state track meet. But these aren't the only kids. These are my grandkids. These ain't the only grandkids that are good. Blaze down in there was a state track winner in the mile, 1,600 meters in high school for Dan. And all of the grandkids have participated in sports throughout there, and basketball, mainly basketball, but all they had put in, and I'm down to the last two. And don't ask me how many basketball games I've watched. I've watched a bunch.
I don't think people realize how many games you've seen. Lawrence, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to posting this for everybody to see.
Well, thank you for coming, Tyler, and thank you for doing that. You're doing a good job.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Thank you
Okay.
very much, Lawrence.
See ya.
So, Lawrence, what's this other thing you were wanting to tell me about my dad?
Well, your dad played first five for me in 1981, and he was down to Lawrenceville. We played Lawrenceville, played at Bridgeport, played Lawrenceville, and unfortunately we got beat by them. But again, he did a good job for me, and everything went well with us in that. Carl was a good basketball player. I'm glad to see him do officiating and doing a good job there.